fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning.
What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. Riding some more beautiful Idaho single track today. This one leads to a nice lake. Let's see if I can spot the lake. It's off to the side, so I don't always know if I can see them.
Navigating a trail can be very difficult when it fades to nature. It's really important to remember some basic principles when it comes to making it through terrain that might be overgrown. The first rule that I follow is that if I can't make it up, then don't ride down it. It's important to keep this first safety rule in mind when you're miles and miles away from civilization. Keep looking ahead, but observe the terrain in front of you from the perspective of having to ride up the trail you just came down, as you may have to do that at any time. Keep a good panoramic perspective of the terrain around you, and keep track of which direction you came from. This is hard to do on overcast days and thick wooded areas. Everything tends to look pretty much the same. This is why keeping a map handy is essential. I use a map app called Onyx Off-Road, which has always worked well for me. There are other ones out there like Gaia, Avenza, and many others. It's nice to have a paper map as well, although those don't show your exact position and can get damaged easily, are bulky, and not nearly as convenient. When you are on the trail, you can look for tracks. It seems obvious, but this is not always the case, especially if you are looking to find where other riders have gone that are in your group. That can be a whole other topic, as tracking a rider down can be way more difficult than tracking down a trail. Game trails often get cut into the terrain more noticeably than dirt bike tracks. It takes a lot of riders each year to keep a trail visible. If the switchbacks are too tight, it might be a game trail. Also, you can stop and look closely at the trail to see if you can find tread marks or any visible signs of game markings. There are a lot of other clues. Oftentimes riders will place trail designations near where the trail is supposed to be. This could be a stack of rocks, a sign, a tree carving. The first signs I look for are cut logs from trail clearing. This is often the most obvious way to tell where to go, but sometimes even those lead the wrong way. In this video, I follow some of the cleared sections, but they lead me astray, so I have to turn back. This is a reminder that even trail clearers can get lost. In conclusion, be safe. In the end, all that really matters is that you go home and at the end of the day, you're safe. You don't need to make any decisions that you aren't comfortable with. Even if you're with a group, it's only you who's in charge of your bike and your safety. Nobody else can do that for you. So stay safe out there and have fun.
And on some stuff that works out, but stuff like your air filter, I've seen people use an air compressor to blow out the air filter to clean it. I've seen people use chain lube to put grips on. Just stuff like that. Like, it's best on most things to do a little research and see how it's done. That way you don't have problems down the road, because a lot of this stuff, your bike will let you down if you don't get it right. And I'm guilty of doing a little bit of farmer work on my bike for sure, using a little twine here and there. Not really that bad, but so I lost my left hand guard, and I was gonna remove my right one as well, but I was like, nah, I'll just run it that way. I'd rather have my brake covered at least. But pushing through this stuff, it's awfully nice to have a handguard. Ugh. This single track hasn't really traveled very often. The old learning how to ride thing is a constant. Is a constant for sure. Oh, okay. That's the trail. This is rugged. Oh, so wearing proper gear is another one that gets people. I think beginners oftentimes they just think that they can get away with wearing whatever. But it's not the case. Really should have at least some ankle protection. So like work boots at least. Although riding boots are better for sure. Also goggles are nice to have. Taking a ton of my computing power here to get through this trail. It's not just because it's rugged, but also because I have to navigate this.
When it comes to motorcycle maintenance, you should do what you think is right. It's your bike, and it will treat you how you treat it. If you don't know what's right, however, then I would recommend doing some research instead of just going for it. Just going for it is usually how motorcycles get destroyed and sold on the secondary market with hidden issues. But most importantly, if you don't take care of your bike, then it's probably going to get you stranded at the worst time possible, and you definitely don't want that, especially if you're covering any kind of distance. As I was talking about earlier with gear, that's another topic that beginners don't fully understand and sometimes try to skimp on. The helmet is essential, and I think a lot of people don't really see these things until they actually ride a bike. I know that we look like Power Rangers out here, but there's definitely a reason we are wearing this gear. Part of that reason is to look cool. Otherwise, we wouldn't wear matching gear. But that gear is also serving a purpose. I would be long gone 100 times if I didn't wear a helmet. The goggles are also really important. Your eyes are so fragile, and your face will get hit by branches at some point. When you're going through a bunch of weeds and bushes and trees, all that stuff just smacks against you and you barely notice it if you're wearing a helmet and goggles and a sweatshirt and all that stuff, because you're not quite as exposed. But once you start taking those layers off, it doesn't take much before that stuff starts really causing a lot of damage. Boots are also very essential as you are riding through boulders, rocks, and all these different logs and obstacles. All of that stuff tries to kill you, and the thing that they can reach are your feet. So if you're flying by those and you have to dab and you get your foot caught, you're probably going to break something. If you don't have good protection down there, your foot's going to look like a hamburger that's been real jacked up. Work boots kind of work, but basically any exposed skin will probably eventually bleed. So all of my gear is essential to me.
Okay. Maybe down below a little bit here. Fortunate for me, it's not too steep right here. Okay, here we go.
I wear compression knee guards with fortified boot protection, and they have saved me many times. The more you ride, the more you realize how essential good protection is. Even if you have to wear hockey gear or something, it doesn't matter how you look, but it does matter that you are covered and protected, because eventually, if you don't do that, it will come back to haunt you.
Alright guys, I'm going to check and see if I'm too far off trail here. I think I'm on trail, but it's hard to tell sometimes. This trail has been extremely difficult to navigate. Part of the reason why is there was a log cut going the wrong direction, and there's no visible trail coming this way. So it looks like you're boondocking it up the hill, but if you watch, somebody's put stacks of rocks here. Those are a good indicator. It took me a little bit circling back around, but finally found it. So yeah, you can't always find those holes cut through logs. You know, you can't always find that path, and if you do, sometimes somebody tried to take the wrong path and cut through the wrong direction. This one's cut the right direction. So when you're out here navigating, you always want to look for cut timber like this, but sometimes it'll mislead you as well, so you gotta go beyond that. This was very difficult to find. I'm gonna cut through this on my way down if there is anything in my way, but should be fairly close to the end of the trail at this point. This appears to be game trail over here. I did see one that went down, so we'll see about that one. Game oftentimes work their way around these bushes real close. No cuts here into a marsh, so I'm going to revert to the map and see where the trail is supposed to go. From here, I don't see any stacks of rocks. I don't see any indicators here. Always a difficult decision on which way to go on these kind of trails. It's the map, and it appears as though that last log that I went through, you just take a right, and we're going to follow this ridge all the way to the top. And there should be a road at the top. So instead of this cutting over, it should go up. Looks like I found it. Alright, we got another stack of rocks, always a good sign. We've got tracks going straight up here. Probably early in the year, this year maybe, or last year. There's no visible indication of trail here, and this is a good example of what happens to a trail if you don't ride it for a couple years. Can't tell it ever existed. I'm seeing some stuff here. Difficult navigating situation here. So I'm going to regroup, circle back around, and see if I can figure out where this trail goes. I'm using my map as a starting point, and from there I'm trying to navigate through the trail, see if I can find any indication of a trail going through. So catch you guys on the next section. On trail, found another indicator right at that tree right there. A stack of rocks. Appreciate whoever came and put the time in to do that. When the trail looks like this, you have to take it easy and really think about your next step. Looks like I might actually punch all the way through. Thought I might have to turn around on this one. This one's a very difficult trail to navigate. Onward and upward. Would love to see the end of this trail. This would be a good one to get through. Got a cut log here. And before I get too far off trail, we gotta consider where it goes. Looks like I see something up there on the left and on the right, to be honest. This one looks more defined. The game trails always look more defined. It appears to be going straight into that log there, but I don't think that's going to be the trail. I consult the map. Well, how would you just look at this? See that pile of rocks over there? This is the glorious trailhead right here. You guys are going to need expert level navigation to do this one. This has been a wild trail. Wow. Well guys, thanks for joining the ride. This is a beautiful ending location to a trail. Couldn't ask for much better than this. Yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.